Previously on Lost.
One of the people wasn't on the plane, basically meaning Ethan. You just see him walk up upon Charlie and Claire, and it's like, hi, and they're both looking like, okay, what the hell, why didn't you go get Jack? This is Lost Part 10. It's an episode about Jack, and it's the episode entitled, All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues. So Hurley's like, dude, I checked the manifest, and that Canadian guy, Ethan, he wasn't on the plane. And Jack's like, what are you talking about? Because he was fixing up Saeed's leg. And basically, they're like, okay, well, we should have believed Claire. Jack and Locke decide to take off to go see if they can find anything. So they go off into the jungle, and Locke's trying to hunt down the trail. And they come across Claire's bag that she was carrying. And he's like, that's Claire's. He's like, really? Wow. Well, maybe we ought to organize a proper search team. And Jack won't have it. He's like, I'm going to go find her, blah, blah, blah. Locke's like, okay, well, I'm going to go back and get some more people because you're crazy. And so, anyways, in Jack's flashback, he's trying to fix some patient. We don't know what's wrong with her exactly. You find out later that she was messed up somehow, I don't know, but he was like trying to repair her. And then, suddenly on the little monitor, she flatlines. That's not a flatline. And so she's dead. And Jack's dad walks in and was like, call it, Jack, call it, call the time of death. He's like, you do it because you're chief of surgery. So Locke goes back to the cave, and with Kate they get supplies and are planning on going after Charlie and Claire because they don't know what happened to them. They think that Ethan has taken them. And Kate's like, I can't believe you left him out in the jungle. And he's like, he's a doctor. He knows, crap. Anyways, Boone and Shannon are coming to get water, and Boone was like, oh, you're going on a search party. I'd like to help. And Locke looks at him and is like, are you up for it? He's like, I'm definitely up for it. I think they were lovers or something. I don't know. Anyway, well, Boone and Locke and Kate catch up with Jack and are like, okay, well, let's follow this trail, for real, because you don't know what you're doing, Jack. And he's like, okay, fine, you lead the way. And then they come across this area where there are two sets of tracks. And they find out that Kate can track things too, because she's like, oh, well, maybe Ethan went on one path and then doubled back in his own footsteps and is trying to trick us. And Boone's like, you're crazy. You're a tracker and you're running from the law? No, he doesn't know she's running from the law. Anyway, they decide to split into two groups. And so Jack and Kate take one set and go off in one direction. Sorry, just my theory, guys. The lovers go off in the other direction. In another one of Jack's flashbacks, you find out that his father is trying to tell Jack, it was an accident, she died, and whatever. And he's like, the nurse called me in because she said that you were under the influence. This is a martini glass he's supposed to be holding to kind of give you the idea that he, drinks quite a lot. Anyways, he was like, if you tell the board, because they're going to go before a review board, that I was drinking, that's the only fact that's going to matter, and they're going to suspend my license. And he's like, well, yeah. Anyway, so at first he was telling his father that, he's, going to go ahead and tell them. His father convinces him that he, shouldn't do that because he's done so much good in the world. And so the report on how the woman died and whatever, and he wants Jack to sign, and Jack finally gives in and is like, fine, whatever, we'll let this one slide. Well, later you find out, the very last flashback, I don't like the flashbacks, guys, that they go before the review board and everything's all fine and kosher, and then Jack finally tells them the real story, and his father, is like, can't believe you did that to me. So, you get the idea that his father gets fired. So Jack and Kate are off looking for Charlie and Claire on their set of tracks, while Locke and Boone are doing who knows what out in the jungle. And he's like, where'd you learn to track? And she's like, from my father, okay? Like, can you give me some privacy? He's like, no one has privacy on this island. While they're searching in the jungle, Jack thinks he hears Claire screaming, and he takes off. He takes off, like, trying to go up a hill, and Kate goes running after him. And then it's raining right now, like it does a lot on the island. He slips in the mud and then slides all the way back down into this little gully. And who shows up but Ethan? And he's like, if you do not stop following me, I will kill one of them. And Jack's just not having that. So they decide to get into this big, like, fight over who has the biggest schlong. No, not really, but they do fight. And they're, like, messing each other up. Mostly Ethan messes Jack up a lot, dude. I mean, he's, like, he'll swing and then he ducks and he's like, okay, take this, bah! And then he gets knocked out. And then Kate comes and finds him. So they're searching through the jungle some more, and the next scene, they come across Charlie, who's, like, hanging. He was, like, hung by the neck from a vine up in the trees. And Jack's all freaking out, and he's like, no, Charlie, oh my gosh, you know, this is a horrible way for you to die after you just kicked a heroin habit. So they cut him down, and he falls to the ground, and Jack tries to resuscitate him. So they have Charlie on the ground, and Jack starts doing CPR on him, and eventually, after a little while, you get the idea that Charlie's dead, and Kate starts crying, and Jack's like, I'm not losing another patient. He didn't say that, but he's thinking that in his mind. And so there's like a whole 20 seconds where you think Charlie is dead, and then it's actually kind of really emotional if you watch it. But then Jack starts pounding on Charlie's chest, and it was like, you know, like, come on, Charlie. And then Charlie, lo and behold, comes awake, and he's like, oh, God, where's some heroin? No, he didn't say that. So they take him back to the cave. Jack asks Charlie, like, what did you see? And Charlie's like, I didn't hear anything. I don't remember anything. All they wanted was Claire. Well, it's dark time. Locke and Boone have been trying to follow the trail, too. I should kind of backtrack a little bit. They're still trying to follow the trail, and Locke's like, don't you feel it? And he's like, yeah, I felt it, definitely. No. Sorry about that. They have been marking their progress on trees. Sorry, that looks bad. With, like, red, like, scraps of shirt. And so it's getting really dark, and he thinks that Locke is crazy now because they're still just kind of wandering aimlessly around in the jungle. And he says, Locke, I'm going to go ahead and follow the trail back. And he's like, okay, good idea. And he tosses him, this is supposed to be a flashlight. He tosses him a flashlight. He's like, you need it more than I do. But it falls to the ground and hits something, and it's like a metal sound. And they both, like look down, oh, sorry, and are like, what the heck is that? And they start uncovering this big, huge piece of metal. And that's how the episode ends.